Welcome to the 124th edition of Spooky Reviews from Spooky Ventures. This time around I'm looking at a double Blu-Ray release from Film Masters. This one includes the movies The Devil's Partner and Creature from the Haunted Sea. I have to say that Film Masters really put out some high quality sets, and this is just another example of that. The first film is a supernatural horror movie. It's suspenseful and downright creepy. It was released in 1961. The story is intriguing and quite spooky. I should mention, I suppose, that there is quite a bit of violence against animals in the movie. That said, it's all implied, but if that's something that bothers you, you might want to steer clear. In fact, the very first scene includes it, so you would probably figure that out very quickly if you tried watching it. I'd never seen this one before, and I was really caught up in it and entertained throughout. I think it's a clever story and well-done film. It might be one that's not talked about as much as other of its contemporaries, but it's definitely worthwhile as a supernatural horror film. It opens with an old man sacrificing a goat for a ritual. See, I told you, violence against animals right at the start. As a demonic entity adds something to his ritualistic runes, he appears to die. That's one heck of a setup, and as his nephew moves into town and takes over his property, bad things start happening to people in the community. I won't say any more because it would give away too much of the plot. Now, this movie has been restored here, and I haven't seen what it looked like before, but it looks really good in this print. This was obviously a low-budget film, but it was also quite well done, and it holds up as a solid story even now. The second disc included here features a movie called The Creature from the Haunted Sea. It's a low-budget Roger Corman horror spoof. It's considered the third of the trilogy of three of those kinds of movies, with Bucket of Blood and Little Shop of Horrors being the other two. This movie is the one that tends to get forgotten, and perhaps I can see why. It's definitely the silliest of the three. The story here is that a mobster helps some Cuban officers smuggle part of the national treasury off of the island after the revolution. Of course, this boss, who looks an awful lot like Humphrey Bogart, has his own agenda. He plans to scare the officials off and keep the money to himself. His idea to do that is to create a fake sea monster threat, using this MO to start killing off some of the troops traveling with them. What he doesn't know is that there's a real sea monster out there. This movie is packed with characters that are over-the-top silly, unreal situations, and a lot of hijinks. It's not as solid as either of the other two of the trilogy, but taken at the farce that it is a lot of fun. I also have to mention that I found naming the colonel Cabeza Grande, which translates to Big Head, very funny. Both of these films come with a host of cool bonus features. They are intriguing, but not really the draw here as far as I'm concerned. I like this twofer quite a bit. Both movies are very different, but I think they both work pretty well. Spooky Ventures is the home for spooky content and spooky merchandise on the web. Check it out today at spookyventures.com. And remember, always keep it spooky.